The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. And that's where people lose years of their life. There's so much busyness and running up and down the field. There's so much sense of action and accomplishment that they realize that there's no objective because they don't know what they're reaching for. They don't know what their goal is. And as deadly simple as that sounds, step number one, have a goal. Make it specific. Make sure you know the rules of the game you're playing. Make sure you know what a win looks like. In fact, that may be the most important question that you could ask yourself. The most pointed thing that you could determine in your life is to know, what does it look like to win? Once you know what it looks like to win, then you can work backwards. Then you can figure out what you need to do to score. Then you can figure out the skills that you're going to need in order to get great, in order to go out and dominate, in order to be better than anyone that has ever come before you. But to do that, you've got to know what your goal is. And once you have that, as Dale Carnegie said, if you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. So now you have your goal. Now you're telling people what you're going to do. Now you're telling yourself who you're going to become. You're building something up inside of you, but are you actually taking the action? Are you actually getting out and doing something about it? And it is terrifying to me how people can pacify themselves with a sense of accomplishment simply by having a goal, simply by telling people that they're going to do something, simply by fantasizing about what they're going to accomplish. And let me tell you right now, the thing that separates the people who dream from the people who execute is a willingness to act. And at the end of the day, nothing is going to stop you. Not fear, not inability, not inadequacy. The only thing that will stop you is failing to start. Failing to start is your mortal enemy. You've got to find a way to get yourself going. You've got to find a way to take that desire, that interest in you, and turn it into a raging inferno, something that's going to get you moving and going ahead, that will trample everything in its path. Once you're able to do that, nothing, and I mean nothing, will be able to stop you. As John Henrik Clarke said, powerful people cannot afford to educate the people that they oppress. Because once you are truly educated, you will not ask for power, you will take it. I have the chills right now, and I want everyone listening to this to really think about that. Power is not given, it is assumed. If you want something in your life, you've got to become capable of taking it. And that's the whole point behind getting educated. Don't think about education as flipping through a bunch of books. Getting educated is about gaining knowledge, knowledge that has utility, knowledge that can be put to use in service of something. But you've got to know what that in service of is. What are you trying to do? Why are you trying to educate yourself? And are you waiting? Are you asking politely if you can be educated? Or are you grabbing the things that you need in order to learn and insisting of yourself that you gain that knowledge, that you begin to empower yourself, that you build yourself into someone who cannot be conquered. And as Walt Whitman said, I live to be the ruler of life, not a slave, to meet life as a powerful conqueror, and nothing exterior to me will ever take command of me. Now, if you're going to live by those words, you are going to have to empower yourself. You are going to have to become capable of something tomorrow that you are not capable of today. And the only way to do that is to educate yourself. But don't get trapped in other people's definition of education. Education is not sitting blindly in a classroom. Education is not simply working your way through Wikipedia. Education is about understanding what you're trying to accomplish and getting the knowledge that you need in order to bend reality to your will. And this is the thing that drives me crazy about how people approach education. At the end of the day, knowledge, skills, they are designed to have real world impact. They are designed to give you the ability to do something that influences this world. They are designed to make you capable of something that you weren't capable of before. When it is blind learning, when you think it's to impress your parents or to get an A on the test or to make your manager at work happy, you have already lost. The point of knowledge is to make sure that you can close your eyes and envision a world Open your eyes and then make that world come true. The point of knowledge is to control your own life. Never forget that. As Václav Havel said, work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. And this is something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. They think that the goal of their life is to identify something that'll work, to identify something that has the odds stacked in its favor, rather than to think about what matters, what's important. Because if something is important, if it speaks to you, if it's going to give resonance to your life, then it's worth doing, even if it's something that is almost guaranteed to fail. When something matters enough, regardless of the odds, it's worth engaging with, because even in the pursuit, you can find meaning. And as humans, one of the things that we hunger for most is purpose and meaning, but you can't have that purpose and meaning without the thing that you're pursuing be something that you believe to be worthwhile. So don't worry about whether or not it succeeds. Ask only about whether or not it's going to light you on fire. Ask only if in those dark moments that it will give you that sense of mattering to this world, that even in the failure, do you learn something about yourself? Do you see the truth that you matter? And that even as a single person, even as one individual, you can echo through this world. But that will never happen by pursuing something small. That will never happen by pursuing something simply because it can win. It will only happen by pursuing something that matters. And in that, if you pursue something that matters and you're able to get to the point where you can see it across the finish line, or at least advance it and make it a step closer to becoming real, in that we realize how societies really are transformed. In that, and trying the big, the impossible, dreaming that thing that nobody else is even willing to talk about. In dreaming that, it is the crazy ones who are able to change the world, because the crazy ones allowed themselves to believe. They allowed themselves to believe that against all the odds, a world that does not yet exist could actually exist. And as Ralph Marston said, welcome those big, sticky, complicated problems. In them are your most powerful opportunities. And that's it. The big problems, the ones that matter, the things that will give you purpose and meaning in your life, they're going to be hard. But if you can look at the hard things and show up and push every day and keep striving, and when you fall down, pick yourself back up and focus only on one thing, not whether or not you're going to win, but whether or not it mattered that you played. If you do that, every sacrifice in your life will be worth it. And if not, nothing you gain will have mattered. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen, few in pursuit of the goal. And that's one of the things that really trips people up. At the end of the day, a path is an option. It's one of the ways forward, but it's the thing that you're doing right now today. So people get really focused on that. They make their happiness built around that. They think about that as the thing. But as the old saying goes, don't confuse the finger with the moon that it's pointing at. That's where you've got to be really careful. At the end of the day, the goal is the thing that you're trying to achieve. The goal is what you're trying to get. The path is irrelevant. The path is really your best guess. It's the thing you think is going to work. But if you become myopically focused on that, if you think that the path really is the end thing, if you think the finger actually is the moon, then you miss the objective to which you're fighting for. Then you're not going to have the energy to keep pushing when things get really hard, because you're going to have mistaken the way of getting there with the destination itself. And I think that people a lot of times throw hate on having a destination, on building towards some big goal, of having some grand thing that they're chasing. But as Einstein said, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people, not to things. And the reason that he said that, people and things, they change. You've got no control over them. At the end of the day, the only thing you really control is yourself. At the end of the day, the only thing that you can hope for is to be going after something that has meaning. something that has purpose, something that really gives you a reason for being, that directs your actions, that becomes the filter by which you judge everything, that really becomes the center, the gravitational center of your own universe. But it's the goal, not the path. So what is it that you really want? You have to identify that. To me, everything in life starts with the goal, and then you work your way backwards. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in other people and putting your happiness in somebody else and finding purpose in something else and trying to obtain things. Have it be something that you're trying to accomplish. Have it be something that you're trying to become. Once you're on the path to becoming, then you can find real happiness. And as Albert Einstein said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And that's what confuses people. People believe that they're dumb because they're not finding their path. They're not defining things based on what excites them and what they want to live with every day. They're just looking to what the outside world says is good. And I think it's incredible that there are other people doing things that are so extraordinary that we aspire to be like that. But you have to understand the difference between being like someone and trying to actually be them. So if what inspires you is that somebody works hard, work hard. If what inspires you is that somebody gets up every time they fail, get up every time you fail. If what you like is that they are themselves with all their weird eccentricities and quirks, then be true to your eccentricities and quirks, but don't try to embody their eccentricities and quirks. That's the surest way to become the fish that thinks it's stupid because it's being judged by trying to climb a tree.